Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my fellow YouTubian nation. This is Barnon11970, and thank you for watching my video. All right, guys, we're getting some good questions the past couple of days, and I think this one also warrants another video response. This is from Mr. Leon1701. He wrote this a couple of minutes ago. Basically, he's asking, why do you think the people see that silver is a way to protect your, let's just change the words to assets? Very good question. And this is something that silver and gold stackers really need to think about and consider for what happens in events. The problem in the history of the planet is the majority of the masses will believe whatever they're told. And they will not believe in change until something dramatic happens that causes them to do it. Prime example, if you go back in history with tragic events, things like what happened in Pompeii. Now, there were thousands of people living under an active volcano. Now, this is something they knew, but what they think is, and this is basically the mentality of people throughout the ages, they knew that it was active, but they knew also it hadn't erupted in a very, very long time. So people have that attitude of, it won't happen in my time, or it probably won't happen in my time, or it hasn't happened yet, so it's not going to happen. And if you notice the history of what did happen, on one fine day, people died in their tracks because what they said hadn't happened or couldn't happen did happen. And it's too late to react at that point. If you research history in that sense, that's how the majority of people in this world are. I mean, in the Middle Ages, they were told for hundreds of years that the earth is flat, that the sun revolved around the earth, and the earth was the center of the universe. And as a matter of fact, churches would prosecute you, put you in jail, or even execute you if you tried to state to the masses otherwise. I mean, research things like Galileo. He was one of the first people to actually stand up and say, no, the earth is round and the earth revolves around the sun. Well, he was imprisoned for the rest of his life. So what does this have to do with gold and silver? Well, as you see by a bunch of people who do not like precious metals, do they have the right to not like it? Absolutely. But when you see people purposely attacking something with a vengeance, there's a reason for that. And you have to think of it logically. Why would somebody, I mean, I don't collect dolls, but I'm not going to attack somebody that does. I mean, who cares? I don't collect, let's just say I don't collect stamps. I'm not going to attack somebody for collecting stamps. But yet, when you see something like gold and silver, which is documented in our Constitution under the Coinage Act of 1792, it states that gold, silver, and copper are real money. Now, does that mean they're real money nowadays? No. Let's put this in perspective. Some of the defensive arguments is that, oh, you crazy people think gold and silver will be money again someday. Well, silver probably will never become money again. Gold does have the potential of becoming money again. But I'm not sitting here saying it will or it is, because it's not, and we can't go by what if. But what the problem that most of them have is they have such an anger towards something. That, to me, gives me there's a reason behind it. Well, whatever vendetta they have against it, for somebody to be as angry to the point where they constantly attack it, and I see this all the time. That's why I block very few people, but the ones, if I go on their profile, and they just created their profile, and they go on nothing but nonstop gold and silver sites, and they bash it no matter what, that says to me that person has an agenda, and I don't want them on my channel. But you have to think of the mentality of the average person. The average person doesn't know about gold and silver. The average person, you can go to your job today and ask them what the price currently is of gold and silver. They'll have no clue. You can even ask them, what is spot price? They'll have no clue. You'll ask them, name 3 different types of government manufactured coins. I could think of 3 right off the bat. You have the Philharmonics, you have the American Silver Eagles, and you have the Canadian Maple Leafs. There's 3 right there. Try and get somebody to mention 1. So the point is, we who research can see the writing on the wall. And that means that we prepare before something happens. The average people in the world are the type who will never do anything until the day after it happens. That's why you saw with Hurricane Sandy, for example, just on Long Island, New York, New Jersey, all those areas alone, for weeks, people were standing in line to get gasoline because they were not prepared. I, on the other hand, because I prepared for things before they happen, didn't have to wait online once. Now just imagine if all of a sudden the economy crashes, or you get some kind of hyperinflation, or some kind of deflation. People are not prepared. They will panic and then get everything they can. Now, will gold and silver help you the second there's a collapse, if there is one? Absolutely not, because the first thing people are going to get is food. After that, they're going to protect themselves, they're going to get medicines, things of that nature. So, make no mistake, if there is a collapse potential, gold and silver does not help you instantly. That's the main argument of people that say, oh, you can't eat gold and silver. Well, you can't eat paper dollars either, so that argument is just ridiculous and it's old. It's like Pierce Morgan using the same gun debate over and over again. The 32 people died of homicides from guns in Great Britain. But he fails to mention the fact of how violent crime in England is actually the worst in Europe. So you can finagle the numbers any way you want. The point of the matter is when things do start to calm down, you are going to need to be able to purchase things again. And if you use throughout history, gold and silver has maintained value, has maintained wealth. What do you think your paper dollars are going to be? What do you think your stocks are going to be valued as if there is a collapse? Now, I'm not guaranteeing it, but if you go throughout history, you can't base things on, well, it hasn't happened in a while, so that means it won't happen. Well, the people in Pompeii got the ultimate price for that wrong decision. So when it comes to gold and silver, right now, because it's manipulated and less than 2%, probably less than 1% of the public even purchases these coins, because you also have to remember, a lot of people are investing in the SLV and the GLD. There's a very small percentage of people who are actually buying physical gold and silver. When there is a collapse, let's just assume there is one. When there is a collapse scenario, and things do calm down, people are going to need whatever they can to trade. Gold and silver will be one of those things. It is not going to be the only things, but it's going to be one of those things. And before that time, if there is a crash tomorrow, and the stock market crashes, and all of a sudden money is becoming less and less valuable by the second, you're going to see people running to gold and silver. Now just imagine when the other 98 to 99% of the world realizes that their dollars and their yens and their wons and all those other paper currencies are losing money by the second, and they realize at that second, wow, precious metals are going up. Where do you think they're going to go? They're going to go in like crazy. So you're seeing this for a long time because there is no panic right now, and they are filling you with misinformation. The day that they announce that the banks are closed and your money is losing money and the stock market's crashing, because it's happened before, it doesn't mean it can't happen again, this is what you're going to see from metals. Do you want to be one of those people that waits until the last minute? You think you're going to get all the quality that you have now? You think you're going to get it for the price you have now? You think it's going to be easy to get? So these are the things you have to worry about. You're going to have a lot of people that are going to use fear tactics. There are going to be a lot of people that are emotionally involved in this, and they want a collapse to happen tomorrow. Well, I, for one, would rather have my silver stay at $30 for the rest of my life and never worry about a collapse happening. That would basically destroy and probably kill at least half the public. Okay, well, you know, let's be logical here. I get many people attack me, they call me crazy and make all these ridiculous things, but yet you see, when I talk on my videos about gold and silver, I'm very rational about it. I don't flip-flop, and I'm not emotionally involved in it. Do I have a passion in it? Absolutely. Am I using it for protection against potential problems? Absolutely. It is the same thing like putting insurance on your car. You don't buy insurance for your car and say, God, I can't wait until I get into an accident because I'll be covered. And it's the same notion, you are not sitting there, if you spend your whole life and you never get into an accident, you don't sit there and say, boy, did I make a poor decision buying that insurance. I mean, doesn't that sound ridiculous? That's what gold and silver, physical gold and silver, platinum, copper, palladium, zinc, nickel, tin, etc. Physical metals are there for protection, potentially. You never want to end up having to use them in that kind of scenario. But let's put it this way. If you spend $10,000 in gold and silver, you will get some of that money back regardless of if it goes up or down. If you spend $10,000 at a casino and blow it all, guess how much you're getting back? None. You spend $10,000 on a whole night partying with your friends and go to strip clubs and go to places all over the place, how much you getting back? You play in the stock market, and unfortunately you make a wrong decision, and then something like, for example, what's happening with the internet bubble, and you invest thousands of dollars, and the business goes under. How much do you get? So let's see. Invest in paper dollars, which are basically being pumped up by overprinting from a government that's being totally irresponsible, or invest in stocks, which have a potential of a business going out of business where you could lose everything, or do something like precious metals, physical precious metals, to protect your wealth so you know no matter what, you will always get some kind of return. To me, it's a no-brainer. Some people will scare the living shit out of you because they think it's fun. They want to get people to make their views and make you second-guess yourself. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. But remember, the smart ones know they plan for the future. Doesn't mean you have to use them in that way. But I guarantee you, if there is a shit-hits-the-fan scenario and you're caught without things that can protect you, good luck. Peace.